Good morning. This is Big Agent Meeting. It is January 17th, 2025. The month of January is flying by already. And today we have a great show for you because this is Friday. It's 11 o'clock. Big Agent Meeting has today the one and only Leo Pareja. If you guys haven't seen him recently, you got to see what he's talking about these days. Got a bunch of really great stuff coming along. He's going to come straight from the horse's mouth. Leo's going to show up here and tell you guys what he's up to. I'm super excited for you guys to hear that too. And then we're going to drop in with Holly Mabry, talk about brokerage operations stuff, which is pretty cool in her segment. And then we're going to, of course, kick it over to Brian Ellington, talk about university. And then he's going to be interviewing Meredith Alderson. If you haven't seen Meredith Alderson, she's got some really great stuff, made a real name for herself, making stuff happen in the real estate business. I'm excited to watch that interview myself. So let's kick it off today. So today, as typical Friday, we kick it off with a market minute. I always want to make sure I bring you something right out of the top of the hour that gives you something you can put in your business. And I know knowledge is power, and I love for you guys to know what's going on in the market. So for today, I've prepared a pie graph, my style, stickman style, on my whiteboard. I've got three numbers on here, and here's the cool part. These three numbers are actually really incredible to know. 38.7%. Do you know what 38.7% is? 38.7% is the percentage of people in the U.S. about mid-year last year that owned their house free and clear, which means 38.7% of people have no mortgage on their house. That's a big number. I saw that number the first time. I thought, wow, that's a lot bigger than I thought. I thought maybe 20, 25 would be the number. It's almost 40, okay? Secondly, the second number here is this number is people that have 50% or more equity in their house. 30% of the market has 50% or more equity in the house. Like that's a big number too, right? And then the 31.3, that's the people that have less than 50% equity in their house. But keep in mind, houses have been appreciating. So if they've owned the house for more than a year or two, a bunch of these people have some equity at least. And that doesn't mean they're not close to 50. It just means they're under 50 at the time that they did the survey. So overall, what that means is you've got 68.7% of people have their house either more than 50% equity or paid off. So all the time I'm talking to real estate agents every week, and I say, what do you guys want the most? And most of the time when people are honest and they're thinking this through, they're like, I would like more listings. So two more numbers you need to know. Number one, 63% of home sellers last year said they chose the person to list their house with because they knew them, liked them, and trusted them. So it's in their sphere of influence, 63%. So this year, start getting more known, liked, and trusted. Know this stuff. Start telling people this stuff. And you got a better shot at tagging one of those 63%. Let's run that up to 64, 65. So being known, liked, and trusted is the number one way to get a new listing in this market. So I want you to start thinking, how do you get more known, liked, and trusted? In addition to that, I don't want you to just think house. House price is only one part of the equation because we got the objection. People are saying, well, Russ, but I've got a 3% interest rate on my house. I don't want to go to 7. Okay, well, you bought the new Tesla. That's at what, 12% interest rate? You've got credit cards. That's at what, 21% interest rate? You've got some school debt, or your kids have school debt and you're still paying that off. And that's at what, 8 to 12% interest rate? So when you start looking at all of these put together, there's a lot of times when a person can actually sell the house they're in now with a low interest rate, buy a new house, get in the house that they want, pay off all this other stuff, and their net dollars are even or goes down. So you need a good mortgage professional to help advise you what the whole picture is. So the question you need to ask is, if you could, would you? If you could sell your house, would you? And there's going to be a piece of people put their hands up. They just don't know how to do it in this market, and they don't know why to do it in this market because it doesn't make sense. House prices went up, interest rates went up. So we've got to start actually telling them a number, showing them math, and get a good mortgage person involved to work the whole scenario and run all the math. And there's times when people can go from a 3% interest rate to a 7% interest rate on their house, but actually have less dollars out of pocket because of their other expenses. So start thinking of it holistically. Start thinking like a consultant, not just a real estate agent, and your business can go to the next level. All right, so there's your market minute for Friday, January 17th. Next up, we got a quick advertisement from Ian Wheatley with KGCI Radio. Go ahead, take it away, Ian.
Thanks for checking in. Yeah, we love the Big Agent Meeting on KGCI Real Estate on Air. But as soon as we're done here, we're going to be diving into our weekly Friday focus. And this week, we're bringing you 6 straight hours on the radio about how some of the best in our business are using video content to boost their real estate businesses. Now, I'm really not sure what the Buggles were talking about. I don't think they knew either. Video hasn't killed the radio stars over at KGCI Real Estate on Air. You'll be getting insights from Ricky Caruth, Gogo Bethke, Holly Kitchens, Carrie Sauvé, and so many more of eXp Realty's best and brightest. Now, looking ahead to next Friday, we all want the secrets to lead generation and lead conversion. So, 1 week from today, we're going to be talking all about the scripts that convert. Now, don't forget to start your week with us each week for our Mindset and Motivation Monday. It's important to have your head on straight here in real estate, so we'll support you by sharing powerful strategies to elevate your mindset and boost your success. It's the perfect way to kickstart your week. Now, KGCI Real Estate on Air is joined by thousands of agents each week. So whether you're tuning in live or catching up on demand, KGCI Real Estate on Air is here to empower your business every step of the way. And with thousands of agents listening each week, you don't want to miss out on the insights that could take your career to the next level. Download the KGCI Real Estate on Air app for iPhone or Android. Just search KGCI in the Apple App Store or Google Play, or scan the QR code on your screen, and let's build success together with KGCI Real Estate on Air.
All right, there you go, KGCI. If you guys haven't jumped on there, jump on there now. All right, next up, we have Holly Mabry, Senior Vice President of Brokerage Operations, with a brokerage update for January 17th. What do you got, Holly Mabry?
What's up, my friend? How you doing?
Good.
You know what? Once again, you and I are totally in sync, and this is what I absolutely adore about getting to work with you, is we're so focused on, okay, what do our agents need to know? What are the headlines? What's data? Like, how can they download it? And then take it and use it in their business daily. And so, Russ, stay with me. I've got some cool things to throw down and kind of help people build their business as we go into the weekend. Sound good? All right. So check these things out, because I was thinking about everybody and prepping for today. And I wanted to kind of break down some of the headlines and things that people should know. This was really, really cool. Price appreciation from COVID from Q1 of 2020 through Q4 of last year, double digit equity. Insane. Now, 1/3 of sellers or homeowners are planning to sell this next year. They've actually lived in their home less than 5 years.
Yes.
See some minutia happening. Like, this is cool.
Yes.
I've got a plan for you guys. Also, we've learned this week that inflation was up just a skosh, about 4 ticks to 2.9%. Yep. We all know the magic number is 2% for the Fed to lower rates. The Fed meets next week. They're not going to be lowering rates, guys. Where we're seeing it, we're going to be riding steady right around the high 6s, 7%. So everything that Russ just shared with you is really critical. But this is what was cool. We know that rates are a little bit higher than what we saw during COVID. But this is what was so cool that caught my eye. 33% were up on mortgage loan applications last week going into first week of January. Dude.
Wow.
That bodes really well. And so, like, when you start to put all of these things together, how do we go forward? What does it look like? And of course, I'm going to come back to TCPA. So let's riddle me this, Russ. Like, as we look across the U.S., double-digit appreciation since COVID. This is very, very cool. The lowest state, like the lowest appreciation, was Louisiana at 24% appreciation. Stop it. So when you look at how people have equity in their homes and what that looks like, yesterday I had the opportunity to present an executive masterclass on preparing for today's sellers. And what we dove into is how to have the conversation with sellers right now. You've got all this equity. What's next? So I want everything that Russ just shared with you all, leveraging homeowners with the equity they have. What can they go do? So I want you reaching out, having the conversation. Hey, congratulations on your equity. Let's celebrate that. Oh, by the way, do you know somebody who would enjoy this kind of report about their property? Mm-hmm. Because that's how you get, if not that seller, who knows, loves, and trusts you, they refer you to a friend. Yeah, baby. Yeah,
I keep this thing on my phone, Holly. And if you guys don't have a photo of something like that on your phone, I say to people all the time, would you like to know what the house appreciation was in your state since? And they're like, sure. I'm like, cool, let me send it to you. Now they're giving you their information voluntarily. So this is one of my favorite things on my phone, by the way.
Absolutely. It's a big win. People want to feel good about real estate. Now, this is the other thing. Those folks that have bought during COVID, they are likely going to have to sell this next year or in 2025, I should say. And the reason being is lifestyle. Russ, you talked on this last week, where family changes, divorce, marriage, babies, job changes. 25% of people who moved during COVID are being forced back to work and have to move to get closer to work. So as a result, How are we assisting them? And that's an opportunity because many of these folks that bought in the last 5 years, they may not have updated the property. They paid top dollar. They moved in. The bedroom is still bright princess pink, right?
Yes,
and so as a result, they might need some recommendations. They may need some trades or vendors to come out and help paint the bedroom, update the roof, all of those things. Well, within EXP, we have this great resource called Curbio. Curbio can actually, with licensed contractors, go out, give estimates to the homeowner, and then do the work and get paid at close of escrow. It's a win for everybody. So when you start to look at it, how do we go forward? It's referring and taking care of those tips. So also recognizing that there's a lot of things that sometimes we gloss over. We want to make sure you have access to always. And this is what's so important to me. Executive Masterclass, EXP University, crushing it on the YouTube channel. The amount of classes you can go. Kendall did an amazing class on your value proposition and your way to stand out. EXPUniversity.com. Check out the YouTube channel. Marketing. We've got seller strategies. It's the toolkit. I want you to take a look at that. Leo's done some updated videos for us, which are out of sight. We've got more training tips, updates for you in all the toolkits. And then finally, TCPA. Russ, we are just about 10 days out from the updates there. I want you prepared because every violation is about $500. That money you work too hard for, I want you to keep it in your pocket. And so our legal counsel and Boyd Bastian on the compliance team put together this amazing toolkit to help you update your website, help you update your open house, all of those specifics that you need to stay legal as the rules continue to evolve and change. So that's what I've got for you guys. Lots of tips, lots of trips, and all of the toolkits.
That is absolutely fantastic. And you know what I think is wow, this is like your operations. You're supposed to be running the back of the thing, but you actually know what's going on in the front too.
This is the thing. I may be operations, but I'm your broker. Exactly. And as your broker, it's my goal to protect your business and help you build it. And so that's my goal. How do I put all the pieces together so you can go have a better conversation? I
love that we've got that. It's funny because we're starting to see those links to that also in some of the other things like the the attraction toolkit that we've got on the growth side. We've got that little thing. Hey, don't screw this up. Here's your warning sign, and you can go to the link and it'll actually show you how to do this. People get scared when they're uncertain. If we can remove the uncertainty, they get a lot less scared. So don't be afraid to make phone calls. Just know you're making the phone calls to the right people with the right setup, and you can prepare for it in the future right now. So good stuff. All right.
Absolutely. Holly. Thanks, Russ. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday. All right, there you go. Holly Mabry, always bringing the fire, brokerage operations. She's on the ground, knows what's going on, and helping protect you guys, which I love a bunch. All right, next up. Hey, I can't wait for this one. Next up, Leo Pareja, CEO of eXp Realty. Let's just throw him in here. Leo, how you doing, buddy?
Good morning, Russ. I am fired up. I've been joining calls, whether it's one-to-one or one-to-many. I just did two, probably 50 and 100 right before this one. So if you guys have a rev share group and you have a meeting, just know that you can invite me, by the way. Reach out to Andrea Sabino on Workplace. I spend 50 to 60% of my times agent facing. I'm a very different CEO because I am actually one of you. Like, I did this for a living. It's the only way I fed my family. I like to joke that my previous occupation was high school. I grew up in this business. I understand your life. And every day we wake up collectively, Russ, Holly, everybody, trying to make your days better. Right? I want to make being at EXP better than not being at EXP, whether that's the amazing amount of content that Brian has delivered with the whole educational team and university. For those of you who have not heard of FastCap or have not been to it, please sign up. At other companies, that's like an $800 price ticket that's fully included in your value stack. Because at the end of the day, this business is about context, right? I was just addressing a big group and they said, hey, talk to us about leverage. And I said, all you should do is lead gen, lead gen, lead gen, lead gen. The secondary thing you should do is then convert. And then that's how you build a team. That's how you hire admin support and then buyer's agents. Whether you're a solo producer, lead gen is still your priority, right? You got to block off 1 to 2 hours a day. super important with the changes coming on January 27th that Holly touched on. I was actually prepared to jump in and say that as well, because that's very, very, very top of mind.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's a perfect example of just, it's always changing, right?
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of media, CNN, CNBC, Market Watch, Business Insider, and they're like, tell us about the market. And I say, it's the lowest year in history since 1995. And then we talk about the peak year, which was 2021, right? And 7 million transactions. And then before that, it was 2007.
Yeah.
I've been in this business for 23 years, and I've never finished a year and said that was an average year, right? It's always,
Agreed.
We have not enough buyers,
Yep.
too much inventory, or we have not enough sellers and too many buyers, right?
Yeah.
It's always up or down.
Yeah.
Right. Which is very much how life is. And right. If you look at an EKG, that's actually what you want in your heart rate, right?
Yes.
This line is not good, right? Stasis is hard to find. But I just want to make sure that everybody tunes in next Tuesday. Glenn and I will be live broadcasting from NASDAQ. We'll have some pretty exciting updates. I got some stuff to share. Glenn's got some stuff to share, and we got some pretty cool announcements. But I wake up very excited because we are the single largest brokerage on the planet, and brokerage is the operating word there. I think there's other companies that think they're tech companies pretending to be real estate companies.
Yep.
I'm echoing what Holly said. We are your brokerage. There is nothing like us, right? I think that the franchisors that we get compared to the legacy names, without naming any of them, have more in common with companies like Yum Brands that are publicly traded that own Taco Bell and Tim Hortons and Burger King, because they sell franchises and then they sell them cups and straws and lids, which in our world translates into coaching products and seminars.
Yep.
We're actually here with you. We only make money if you close a transaction. That's why fast cap is included in your value stack. If you do 2 more deals, you'll pay into your cap, which puts money in your pocket, which puts money into our pocket, because we're partners. This distinction that I keep saying is, you guys aren't my products. You guys are my partners. And that's a very, very different philosophical view of how we partner together. So I won't take too much more of your guys' time. Please tune in next week at 11 Eastern Standard Time. The link will be everywhere, and we will see you live from NASDAQ.
Fantastic. Well, I love the fact that EXP wins after you win, you first. And that's the way the whole company is built. And I love that, Leo. Leo, I'm looking forward to seeing you in New York City next week. You better bundle up, because your Miami is not going to like New York next week.
I am terrified.
It's going to be bad. Just heads up. All right. See you next week.
Take care, bud.
All right. There you go. Leo Perea, right off the top, on the ground. He's been meeting after meeting after meeting just today, talking with people, talking with agents. So if you want to get him in front of your group, reach out to Andrea Sabino, exprealty.net, and she can help coordinate a time on his calendar. All right, there you go. All right, so next up, we have the one and only Brian Ellington, Chief Learning Officer of EXP University and Rockstar Extraordinaire. How you doing?
Good morning, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm just going to try to find a new way to introduce you every week, because it's funny to me.
Rockstar Extraordinaire is a good one. I'll take that one.
I'll
take that one, buddy.
Right,
happy Friday to you all. Hey, I'm going to start with a quote from Bryant McGill, who said, "Ambition without action becomes anxiety."
Yeah.
If you're experiencing that anxiety because you don't know where your next closing's coming from and you don't have enough leads in your pipeline, my question is, do you know exactly what to go do to succeed? And if you don't, that's okay, because we can help. So coming up from the university, the first thing I wanted to say is, by the way, what a great thing for Leo to say about FastCap. Thank you so much, Leo. So a couple of announcements. First up, Evening Encore is here. We have a lot of agents easing into the business dual career. We often refer to them as people who have day jobs. FastCap is a productivity immersive program, right? Yes. I don't say it's an educational program, because if you're there to eat popcorn, it's not right for you, friends. But if you're there to kick butt and take names and get your business jump started in 6 weeks, the average person going through that program, 4.1 appointments, 2.0 agreements in 6 weeks, right? So that's average, by the way. The people who are actually doing the bare minimum of the lead generations that we talk about, 6.9 appointments, 3.8 agreements. That's impressive, right? These guys and gals are getting after it. But it's work, right? So those folks who have a second career right now as they're easing in, we've got Evening Encore, February 12th. We're going to kick off. Now, this is a pilot, right? We haven't done it this way before. So we're experimenting. We're trying some new things. Come be part of that. If you're a dual career agent, if you've got a day job and you're not able to attend the normal fast caps that we have for you, then do make sure you check this out. February 12th, go to expuniversity.com. You can register there.
Good.
Now, also too, hot off the presses, March 5th is going to be our next round of fast cap. So we've got the January 29th. That's already full up. My man, Austin Chevron, is there to kick butt and take names. That's going to be freaking amazing. I can't wait to see. I just gave you our numbers. Those have been the university-led sessions. Austin and my team kind of have a side bet of who's going to outdo who. So I know he's going to bring the heat, and that's going to be awesome. But that session is fill up. So that's January 29th. March 5th will be the next university-led after the Evening Encore one that we're doing February 12th.
Good.
So also too, coming up from the university, wanted to share with you a few other things that you'll want to make note of. On Monday, we've got my friend Katie DeLosto. She's doing a great session, Unleash Your Inner Child, there we go, and close more deals. If you don't know Katie, she is a lot of fun and a brilliant mind, very smart. She wrote Fortune Cookie Wisdom and has done a lot of great things in real estate. On Tuesday, we've got our friend Steve. He's going to be doing, Steve Johnstone, he's going to be doing Referral Mastery, the program launch letter. So this is an ongoing series that he's been doing for us. It's an amazing series, so do check that out. Then on Thursday, my friend Susan McLean is going to be doing our next masterclass, The Art of Sponsorship. Now, if you are a sponsor already, or you want to become a sponsor, Susan is doing this masterclass. It's going to be awesome. She's also previewing our new sponsorship toolkit, sponsorship and retention toolkit that we're about to unleash on the world. So she's going to preview that on that session, which is awesome. Next week, we're going to have Cole, who's the founder of a top Houston real estate team. He's going to come on and share about his journey and about how to scale your business. And then also on the lab next Friday, we're finally dropping the interview that I did with Devontae. This one is really cool. If you don't know Devontae, he's a lot of fun, and he had a lot of great things to share with you all about relationship building and client care. So do check that out. Yeah, he's awesome. And then speaking of relationship building, sphere of influence, and client care, my guest today is a fellow Austinite. Don't be jealous. We're about to get hit by snowpocalypse next week anyway. So, but Meredith Alderson is here today to share with us about winning clients. And we're going to talk about sphere of influence. So Russ, if you don't mind us stealing the spotlight for a few, my friend Meredith and I are going to share some great wisdom with the folks here watching at home. Hey, Meredith, how are you doing?
Hey, Brian. Good morning. I'm so good. How about you?
I'm doing great. It's Friday. I've got a date night tonight. I'm really excited to go, but I'm very excited about this conversation because you and I had a fun conversation the other day in preparation for this. And I'm really hoping everybody's warmed up their writing hand for their notes and are ready to learn from what you're going to share with them. Because I really think that what you've done with your sphere of influence is just incredible. So could you start by just sharing the numbers that you shared with me about your team production versus your production and where that production came from?
Yeah, so I am co-founder of the Heyday Group. My business partner, Lisa Harrell, and I are a multi-market team. So I run our Austin team and she runs our Denver team. When we came from Compass to EXP a year ago, we were a $100 million team and we are a small team. So the numbers feel big, but we are small and mighty. I do between $40 and $50 million a year myself. So.
Only that, huh? So $40-50 million a year is pretty impressive.
It's never enough. You got to keep going.
That's true. That's true. Well, what's really impressive about that, though, is how much of that comes from your sphere. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so probably, I don't have the exact metric, but I told you, I think it's about 90% of my business is from my sphere of influence. Real estate is my second career, and I share this with you because I know there are a lot of newer agents who are thinking about, oh, but I'm new to the business. This doesn't really relate to me. I started in real estate 10 years ago from financial services, and I started with nothing, right? I had $0 in my bank account in terms of like the real estate business, and I had 0 clients. And so what I did have was a lot of great relationships, professional and personal. And I knew if I just leaned into those, and like Russ was talking about earlier, like people who know, like, and trust you will refer you, use you, ask you questions. And I just really leaned into those people. So before I had a big database of past clients like I have today, I had those relationships and I let people know what I'm doing and I shared valuable information. And I really just learned that if I made people feel special and I recognized important things in their life and important things that they were doing, and I asked them questions and I listened, that was really meaningful to people. And so that just the snowball effect of that allowed me to build this incredible business that I have today.
Yeah, and when you were talking, when you and I were talking the other day, we were talking about the amount of business that you do. I said, "Well, tell me about your database." And you started by saying, "Well, I've got 10,000 people in my
Yeah.
my database FUB, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, of course you're doing that much business." But then you said, "But actually, that's not where your business comes from, right? You get
Yeah.
some from that, but I think you said something like 90% of the business that you're getting from your sphere of influence isn't from the 10,000; it's from a 500 person database,
It's
which
so
is
true. Yeah. Yeah.
it,
So of course, like over the years, we all just keep adding to our database. And so many of those people, they're there and they get my newsletter and who knows what that might turn into, but that's not where I pour my time, right? Like where I spend my time is people who I have already built a relationship with through a transaction, right? They bought or sold with me, or they referred me to a friend or whatever. And those are the people that I am hyper focused, obsessive about pouring into. And when I say that, I mean it. I mean, people hear from me probably there are multiple touch points a month for me through all different sorts of channels, and I'm happy to talk about examples, but
yeah,
it is really important to me that I stay in touch with them. And when you stay top of mind, we all have had experience where you pick up the phone, you send a text, you tell someone you're thinking of them. They're like, "Oh, I'm so glad you reached out. My cousin is moving to Austin and they're looking for a realtor," right? It's so the more you're staying top of mind, the more quickly you're able to build this just incredible client base that is going to refer you. I don't spend any money on marketing. And so when I tell newer agents, say, like, "Well, you're in a totally different place," like, I am, because I've built a business and I've spent time doing the work, but you don't have to spend money to do this, right? So I have the
yeah.
luxury of spending some money on my clients now, but when I started, I didn't. So I looked for ways that I could have something free that I could do with them to build that relationship and earn their trust and earn their business.
Yeah, two things about that. The first is in fast cap when we kick it off. One of the things I share with the group is I don't allow anybody to say this is hard, right? I
Yeah.
don't allow anybody to say this is hard. First off, friends, this industry is not hard, right? Doing road construction at the Y at Oak Hill at 3 a.m. when it's raining, that's hard, right? That is hard. What we do for a living is we make friends, right? That's what we get to do for a living. We make friends and get to help them with their home purchases and their home sales. We get to help them with the biggest transaction of their life, what oftentimes amounts to helping their family or their loved ones find their next big adventure in life. That's cool. That's fun. The other thing that occurs to me about this too is that you talked about how you don't spend money. Whether you're a team leader or you're an agent, profitability is a struggle oftentimes for us, right? I know plenty of team leaders where you hear their production numbers and you're like, wow, that person must be driving around in a Bentley. But really, they're pulling, I'm coached team leaders who are pulling money from their properties that they've invested in to manage their team, to fund their team, because they weren't profitable. And so when we talk about this sphere of influence, it's what I love. My friend Katrina Amaral, who teaches the Elevate coaching program on referrals, by the way, February 19th, if you're curious. But she is the same way. She has a great program that she does, and she works by referral. She has a 50 agent team that she teaches to work by referral. And because of that, like you, she has great profitability. So whether you're a team leader or you're a solo agent, you really should consider your sphere as the primary driver. I mean, it just really is that. So I want to jump into this. So you talk about how you kind of love on them, pour into them. Tell us a little bit about that. So first off, what does that mean to you when you say I love on them, I pour on them? Take me through the mechanics and the logistics of that. What does that look like if I'm in your database?
Yeah, I mean, so of course, like in our industry, our database is the backbone of our business, right? And so I am collecting every bit of information I can about my clients. And it's not filling out a form, tell me all these things about you. It's through casual conversation. I'm always listening and I'm taking mental notes, and then I'm getting that information into my database. So make it really organic and genuine as you're collecting knowledge about them. And so for me, I'm listening for things like how many kids do they have? Where do they work? What are their hobbies? What sports do they like? Do they like to work out? What kind of food do they like? Who are their parents? Where do their parents live? Where did they grow up? Where did they go to college? Like all those little things I'm gathering and I'm putting in my database. And I'm celebrating them throughout the year. So whether it's just a quick text message to say, hey, just checking in with you, you were on my mind, a personal message to someone, and then something personal about them, call out like, I hope your kid's having a great first year or first week of fourth grade, whatever it is, right? Know that personal thing. And people are impressed that you know it. I always think like, I want to know more about them and remember things that maybe even their family wouldn't remember, right? Like, we've all had birthdays and you're like, oh, my mother-in-law didn't text me today, but I want to be that person they hear from when they wake up the morning of their birthday and they're just impressed that I remember those things. I mean, at this point, I do other things where I actually do spend money on them, but as I said, there's so much you can do that doesn't cost you a thing. And if you make people feel special, they will remember that. There's a quote in
Maya Angelou.
yeah, so it's something like people won't remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And I truly, I embody that in everything that I do in my business. I want people to feel like our relationship is different than just a business transaction.
Yeah, and that quote couldn't be more spot on. And
Yeah.
how many people take the time to slow down and do it? And you talked about birthdays. I had a birthday back in October, and I got the 9 p.m. texts from some of my family members who I
Yeah.
know, like my sister or my brother, told the family, hey, don't forget it's Brian's birthday. But there's also people who were texting me at like 7 a.m. saying happy birthday. And man, it feels great to get that kind of recognition. And you do little things like you do ice cream cards for their kids on their birthday and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah. Well, I find if you can celebrate people's children, that takes it to a whole nother level, right? So every time one of our clients has a baby, we have standard things that we do, but we send something monogrammed immediately. And people always come back to us. They're like, oh, it's the first thing we got with his name on it. So they'll remember it. It's in the nursery. It's something that they take pictures with their kid. So we just want people to feel really special all the time. But yeah, birthdays monthly, we run a list of our clients' birthdays and we have several touch points for their birthday. So I send a personalized video for everyone's birthday on the day of their birthday. The month of their birthday, we send a note and or a gift card. So we just have a collection of gift cards to local little Austin places that we know people like. And then for kids, we always send a gift card to a local ice cream place. So, kids, they're excited. And then they take pictures and they post it on social media and they tag us. And so it's just, the relationship marketing is free, right? Like all you're doing is investing in people. You're not spending thousands of dollars a month to get a cold lead that has no personal connection to you.
Yeah, I love that. Are we talking about Amy's ice cream, by the way?
Yeah, we are.
Man,
I mean,
I'm
is
so
there
jealous.
anything better?
No, there's not. So, and what's funny when we were talking about this, like this is a legit system that you work, and so much so that you shared about your assistant that the bulk of their time is spent on this, right? Helping
Yes.
you coordinate all of this. And like you said, this is not where you started. You've built up to this. Can you give me a sense, like when you first started, what were those kind of low cost touches that you started working in that then you built upon with some of these other things?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I would invite people to things I was already doing, right? So just building relationships. Like if I'm taking a walk around the lake, invite people. If I'm going to a workout class, invite people. You know, I think of myself really, and anyone in our job, like we're the ultimate connectors. We get to meet so many people. We get to have contact with so many vendors, so many lenders, whatever it is. Like, be the hub that someone goes to get connected to other people. So when I was first starting, I loved to connect people that I knew would have something in common, right? Like maybe they were into the same hobby or the same sport, or they went to the same college, or they had kids at the same school and didn't know each other. So I used that to my advantage to bring people together. Yeah, so anything exercise related. I mean, I'm a big, like, I love to walk and talk because you're getting a lot done at once, and I try to be as efficient as possible. Handwritten notes. I mean, I grew up in the South, and so we wrote thank you notes for everything, and that is ingrained in me. And so I really I write a lot of handwritten notes, and that's how I really started my business. You know, before I had past clients, I would just sit down every week and I'd say, who are 5 people I can write a handwritten note to? And just say something, let them know, remind them what I'm doing. But there's so many free things. I mean, there's stuff going on around the city. Look into events and just invite people to go there with you. And people will inevitably say to you, how's the market? And you'll get an opportunity to talk a little bit about what you do. So
Now, are you purposeful about referrals in terms of like actually asking for it, or are you relying upon the incredible amount of customer service you provide to just create that natural reciprocity? A little bit of both. How do you go about getting referrals?
I never ask for business. And I really, especially in my sphere, because my personal relationships are so dear to me, you know, like my friends from my kids' schools and all of that, like my personal sphere. As much as I will talk about the business if people ask me, I really do not just talk about it or ask for business or ask for referrals. I just am who I am, and I'm very genuine in my approach to that. And I think people will inevitably ask me, and I will talk about it, and then, you know, it turns into something. But no, I never ask for the business directly.
Okay, great. And as you're meeting these folks, I'm assuming that you're getting connected through some of these events and all the things that you do for people, and they're saying, "Oh, cool, meet my friend Jennifer" or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as you meet them and add them into your database, what could a Jennifer or me or somebody else who gets added to your database, what could we expect in terms of like number of touches in a given year? And I know some of those are going to be birthdays, but are some of those more kind of like standard kind of mass touches that you're hitting all of your database with?
Yep. Yeah. So let me talk about, so my general sphere, everybody's getting my newsletter, and we're very active on social media, and we do a lot of video content locally about Austin things. So people are getting touches that way. If you are a past client of mine, you're getting many touches throughout the year, right? Because as I said, like even if my database is 10,000 people, it's my 500-ish past clients that I'm really focusing my time on. And my assistant spends most of her time focusing on those people as well. And so between the two of us, you know, you're getting just a quick check-in. I'm in the neighborhood, was thinking about you. Maybe I'm going to pop by. Maybe I'm going to get together with you. Maybe I'm going to gather people together in your neighborhood so you can meet other people that I've also helped in the neighborhood. We do a few client events a year, like we'll do a pickleball tournament. We do this amazing event that we get such rave reviews on, where we hire a few photographers. We meet in a park in the fall. We do family photos, just like a quick mini shoot, 15 minutes, nothing fancy. We give them all the high res images. They print their holiday cards, and then we get all these holiday cards, right, from the photographers that we use to take their family photos. So they're remembering us that way. That's an incredible event. We are, you know, gift cards, birthday cards, home anniversaries. We send flowers on first home anniversary. So we really have systematized it. It's not just like we wake up one day and we're like, what are we going to do today? Like we have a plan. Every first of the month, we know what we're going to do, the list we're going to pull, who we're going to touch that way. And I'd say like, it's really like countless number of ways, but I'd say if you are a past client of mine, social media and newsletter aside, you are hearing from us 4 to 6 times a year if you're just not even active in the market, right? And if you're more active, of course, you're going to hear from us a lot more. But if you just like, if you bought a house 8 years ago, you are still hearing from us multiple times a year in a personal way.
Yeah, you mentioned the photo shoot. We had Jeremy Kane on last week, and he was talking about how he does like an annual review of the home. He kind of looks at it like a financial planner almost, right? You for a $25,000 stock portfolio, you're going to meet with your financial planner at least once a year, right? Well, you've got a multi-$100,000 asset here in your home. And so he meets with them once a year to talk about that. I love that. And in my mind, I'm a collector of these kinds of things, right? And so when I heard about your photo shoot, I was like, ooh, man, when I go back into production, I'm doing that. That's a great
Yeah.
idea. Can
Yeah.
you share a little bit more about the details about how you do that? Like how you're inviting them, what the day is like there, and then the process for getting them those photos?
You know, it's so funny. We've gotten to a point where, like, once kids go back to school, clients start reaching out to me and they're like, "What's the date of your photo shoot? We want to make sure we get it on the calendar." Like, it's become such a popular event. And we talk about it sells out immediately, right? Like, we post the link, and within 2 days, all of the spots are filled. So, what we do, because we really want to support other people growing their businesses, we don't hire the most expensive, best, well-known photographers in the city. We hire people who are starting out their photography businesses. And that allows us to obviously keep our costs lower too. But there's so much talent, right? So we hire a couple of photographers, we pick a spot in a park, we send out a sign up sheet with all of the different calendar times through Calendly. People can sign up for their time. Most people are repeat, right? So they've been coming to this. We've been doing it now for probably 6 years. And so most people have been before and they know what to do, and they come all dressed up and they have their 15-minute photo shoot. And obviously, we do a lot of communication around reminders. We do a lot of like personal little videos, like a video reminder, so that people can feel connected to us and it's not just like a standard text message. So we're just always trying to make every touch as personal as possible so that people feel that connection back to us. But that event is by far our favorite. We wish we could do it multiple times a year.
How many people do you have show up to that each year, would you guess?
Yeah, so we do, I'm going to say this past year, we had 3 photographers. We were there all day, and we do a photo shoot every 20 minutes with each photographer. So
Wow.
a lot.
That's a lot. But I mean, great touch. And even the people who don't show up, you're still reaching out to them, touching them, making that offer of value to them, and still making that connection on a regular basis, which I absolutely love. You talked about the videos, and you talked about the personal videos, like the birthdays and stuff like that. But you had also shared the other day about educational videos that you put out. Can you share about what's the type of content and where are you putting those?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's in our industry, there's so much knowledge that we have that you get to a point where it's the language we speak every day, and you start to think everybody knows these things, right? But when you really take a step back, you think like, most people don't know about how to file a tax exemption or even what a tax exemption is. So let's really like unwind like our level of knowledge and think about like, what are the basics that a homeowner needs to know? Like, we have a freeze coming here in Texas next week. Last year we did a video where we walked around a house and we helped people understand like, how do you freeze proof a house if you just moved to Texas from California and you've never had to do that? And we don't get freezes very often here anyway. You need to know how to take care of your house. And so we use the education component, not only from like the home maintenance perspective, but all the way to how to file for exemption, what questions to ask a lender, just general home maintenance that you do throughout the year. So we've really just tried to take the knowledge we have and share that in ways that we wouldn't really get the opportunity to do all the time. And people love it.
And are you just like shooting that on your iPhone and texting it to them, or
Yeah.
are you putting it
Yeah.
up on social? How are you distributing?
Both. So we
Oh,
shoot it on our iPhones. So nothing fancy. We don't have fancy camera equipment.
these days, why
Um,
would you? Yeah.
Yeah, so we shoot it on our iPhones. I do have someone on my team who is amazing at video editing, so that's super helpful. But you don't even need that. So it's just getting the information out there and letting people see your face, right?
Yeah.
So we post it to social. We we'll sometimes put links in our newsletter. So if we think it's meaningful to talk about like freeze prevention for your home, we'll put it in our monthly newsletter so that people have multiple ways and they might be able to see that information. So social channels, newsletter, and then a text video.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, you talked about editing. Descript, Captions.ai, Opus Clip, all of these will help you take whatever long form video you've shot on your cell phone and cut it up to where you can use it on socials or whatever other medium
Yeah.
you wanna use. And by the
Yes.
way,
Thank you,
speaking of,
Phil Stringer, for all the tips on all those sites because we use all those apps.
he is amazing.
Yeah.
And what's interesting too, I'm finding, so we're in the process right now with the university. We're doing a research project on lead generation, right? And the first big training program that's going to come out later this year is going to be on Sphere and database, and then we'll do all the various methodologies of lead gen. As we're going out there and we're interviewing all these top agents to kind of learn what they're doing, there's tips and tricks and strategies and all. I'm finding more and more agents using social as a kind of an extension of their CRM, which is just an interesting thing. Do you find that you use it in that fashion, or do you kind of just think of it still as something separate from your database?
No, I would say we do use it in that fashion. I mean, the things that we're putting on social, we're trying to capture whatever audience we can, right? But when I mostly think about social, my approach is, what do I want my clients to know if they didn't see my text message or they didn't get my newsletter? And I think I'm going to capture them on Instagram. What do I need them to know, right? So whether it is educational, whether it's about new properties, whether it's an update on the market, we do like a monthly market stats video as well, just to kind of keep people updated on what's happening in our market. So I do think of it as an extension. It's just another way for me to communicate with them. And I know that nobody's seen everything, right? So that's why I feel like the more repetitive I can be and sharing the same information on these different channels, someone's going to see it somewhere, right? And so as long as they see it once, and again, I stay top of mind, or again, they think of me as a trusted resource, they will come back to me and they will refer people to me.
What I like is you're using kind of the mass distribution channels for that. Here's me as the professional, giving you great insight and value in the professional sphere, and then you're using those more personal touches to keep that relationship. And you're not necessarily
Yeah.
blending the two, but because it's the same audience, they get to see it in both spheres. And I think that's a very smart approach to how you've done that. So as a newer agent getting into this business, right? Trying to emulate this and getting started with their sphere, I hear 500 and I go, okay, I don't know if I've ever met 500 people directly in my lifetime, like in a real relationship, right? Give me a sense, when you got started, how did you go about building your sphere? How did you go about adding people to that?
Yeah, it's such a good question. So, like I said, I mean, when I started in this business, I had nobody in my database, right? So don't feel overwhelmed and think that this does not apply to you. You know, I started where a lot of you are starting if you just got your license. Um, Number one, pick your system and stick to it. That is
Mm.
the CRM is the backbone to your business, right? And so set it up the way that works for you, use the tool that works for you. It doesn't matter what you use as long as you use it. And from day one, get all of your information in it, right? So when I think about like who was in my sphere from day one, like when I started inputting names, I just kind of went through my list of like, who are people I knew in college? Who are people that I've met in Austin? Who are people that go to my kids' schools? Who are people that go to my workout classes? And I just thought about all my different like personal circles and I put people in and I had their email addresses, or I went to Facebook and I found them and I asked them for their email addresses, right? And people knew I was starting a new business. So I was pretty public about that on social channels. And so people understood and that I just wanted to be able to provide valuable information from that. And it truly does snowball. I tell newer agents on my team, like, do the work, be consistent, and one day you'll look up and you won't believe how busy you are. It just happens overnight that way. But you've got to be consistent about it, and you've got to do the work. You have to put in the work every single day. And so if
Yeah.
you're just starting, create your list and start reaching out to those people. Buys, do thank you notes, drop off a flower on their front porch. Again, you don't have to spend money. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but just stay top of mind.
Yeah, it is the number one regret of top agents that they didn't start their database sooner. It really
Yeah.
is. And whatever form of lead generation you use, that should be the driver of your database, right? I've known too many agents who were just hunters for far too long in their career when they could have switched over to more of a farming mentality, which is kind of what you have in terms of your database now. And so the soonest you can get, and whatever tools at your disposal, use it. KV Core is an amazing tool, and you get that as part of the value stack here at EXP. The other thing too that strikes me is, look, if you've been in this business long enough, you've worked with a client that you wish you hadn't worked with, right?
Yeah.
You have, right? The cool thing about referrals in a sphere-based business is you kind of get to pick the people that you work with, because cool people generally hang with cool people, right? And I love having that kind of lifestyle as an agent where you get to be successful by just pouring into people. I know we're
not
near
agree more. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a fun way of doing business. I know we're near time here. Any parting wisdom for folks who are working through their sphere that you've learned along your journey?
I think it's heart and hustle, it's consistency, and it's just make people feel special. I mean, I would say if someone said like, what are the key elements that make you successful? That's really it. Like I do the work, I'm consistent about it, and I make people feel good. And people tell me that all the time, and that makes me feel good. So
What a great life to have. That's awesome. And congratulations on all the success. All right. I
thank
hope I
you.
get to see you at the next AHA meeting. And until then, thanks for coming on and sharing
You
your
will.
hard-won wisdom with us.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks, Meredith. Okay, Russ, back to you, sir.
Man, I was sitting there on the edge of my seat. Meredith, you're talking my language. Come on. This is the way to build the business. For most people, they don't have the extra cash. So like build it with next to no cash and build it with relationship and get to choose who you work with. And
Yeah.
I love my favorite part is your part where you're like, make people feel special. It's the way you say hello to somebody can make them feel special. And it literally starts from that. Go out and do something you love, and then meet people doing something you love. Like you pickleball people, there's something wrong with all of you. And it's all the same wrong together. So like the pickleball people are pickleball people. You go start hanging out with them, man. That becomes your people. And next thing you know, you're like, oh, I got to go build my business. I got to go play pickleball again. And that's how you build your business. So I love the way
true.
you roll.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Meredith. Thank you,
Thanks.
Brian.
All right, guys. Happy Friday.
All right, there you go. There you go. One last thing in this whole list too that I can add with Meredith, and I loved every part of that thing, is when you're getting to that point and you're doing business and you've done business with somebody you don't love. I learned this from Buffini many, many years ago. Rate your people in your sphere A's, B's, C's, and D's. A's are the people you know. They know you. I know you. You know me. We're a happy family. We're not Barney, but we're going to do business together. And if somebody thinks real estate, boom, they're doing business with you, right? Your past clients should all be in that list. The B's are like, I know you and you know me, but I don't know 100% if you're going to do business with me or not. My goal is to get my B's to turn into A's. And it's by building the relationship, not by asking them if they're ready to sell all the time. It's by build the relationship, deepen the relationship, add value, turn your B's into A's. Your C's are like, I know they're in my list. I don't know how they're in my list. I really don't know them. I might not recognize them at the mall if they walk by. Out of context, I wouldn't recognize them potentially. But you get a bunch of those people, and your goal is to make your C's B's. You know them and they know you. Again, build relationship, add value. And then D's, my favorite part of the list. The dump list. Like, I don't want to do business with these people ever again. And by the way, I don't want to do business with their friends either, because their friends are probably just as big of a jerk as they are. So dump those people off the list. Now you're being more selective and you're enjoying life and having more fun in your business. So there you go. A little bit of add on to what Meredith did. That was brilliant. Absolutely love the way you roll, Meredith. Great job today. Thanks, Brian, also. All right, so there you go. That is the show for Friday, January 17th. Before you guys go, we've got the NPS survey. If you guys could grab your phone, open up the camera, and shine it on the QR code there. That QR code will tie you to NPS survey. If you could do that today for me, that'd be great. Give us a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. Constantly trying to improve Big Agent meeting for you every single week. So that helps us make that improvement. Thanks for giving us the scores in the past. We've been doing really great. Our NPS scores are in the high 80s all the time. By the way, Starbucks is 77. So thank you guys for your support in Big Agent meeting. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Next week, we're going to have a great show lined up. We've already got a bunch of things in place for that. Looking forward to seeing you guys all next week in Inman. Stay tuned. Coming up next, iConversations. See you next week.